Call to order the Park District Board meeting on August 15th, 2017 at 7:01. Please call the roll.
Riley?
Here.
Dorsey? Gray absent, Callahan absent, Tillman.
Here. We have quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Are there any items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
There's one item that I would like to scoot to the bottom.
Okay.
Mainly because President Callahan will be here a little bit later. And that is the 14B, approval of architectural fees for the schematic design of the Depot Museum.
So we will move that past item 15?
That'd be great.
Okay. Alrighty. Item number 5. Entertain a motion to establish a consent agenda which includes the approval of the minutes of the special board meeting for July 6, 2017, approval of minutes for the regular board meeting, which is July 18th, approval of the paid expenditures, expense approval report, investment summary, income statement, and purchases, as well as the approval of the CIP purchase for an articulating tractor with attachments.
Tongue twister.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Riley, second by Dorsey. Please call the roll.
Sure. I will start with the... Riley?
Aye.
Dorsey?
Aye.
Gray absent, Callahan absent, Tillman.
Aye, motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Riley, second by Dorsey. All those in agreement, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No opposed, motion carries. Item number 6, guest matters from the public. Everybody calm down. One at a time. All right, we're done. Item number 7, matters from the commissioners. What do we got?
I have none.
We're good.
Wow.
Item number 8, correspondence. We have 2, which letter of appreciation for the Lifelong Learning Institute, from the Lifelong Learning Institute at National Louis University, as well as a note of thanks from the granddaughter of Georgine O'Dwyer. Please make sure those go into our records.
Will do.
Thank you. And item number 9, announcements.
Wow, we're cruising along.
Look, we waste no time. You have to be great. Keep up with the program.
Boom, boom, boom. All right, announcement for August. Are you looking for a fun and safe way for your tween to hang out with friends or meet new ones? Well, look no further than the upcoming Tween Nights on Friday, August 25th and September 8th at 6 p.m. at the Eastside Community Center. You can come enjoy games, sports, movies, dancing, food, and more. Admission is just $5 and concessions are available for an additional fee. And summer is winding down, so is your opportunity to check out paddle boats on the Fox River. Paddle boating is a great way to spend time with family or enjoy a special date night with a loved one. And you can find a special $2 off coupon in our fall fun guide. But just a reminder, paddle boats are available on weekends only now that school is in session, and they are still available through September 4th from 1 to 6 p.m. And if you're interested in looking for a fun way to exercise with your pet, well, then we encourage you to come to the Bark Park and play on the newly added agility equipment on Saturday, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to noon. Admission is free to the special dedication event, and the first 50 individuals that arrive with their pet will be getting a free gift from the Park District. We will also have some fun games and some prizes that will definitely get your furry friends' heart racing. And this dedication event is also a great way to show our appreciation for the generous donation that was made by the Batavia Animal Clinic, who made these new amenities possible. So we hope to see you there. And last but not least, please join museum staff and members of the Batavia Historical Society on September 23rd from 1 to 4 p.m., where you can learn more about the proposed museum expansion project firsthand, see the proposed footprint of the new addition, and volunteers and expansion committee members will be available to answer any questions, and we'll have a special History Heroes Feeling Cranky program for kids. It's all happening at the Depot Museum, and you can visit BataviaHistoricalSociety.org for more details, or you can always give us a call at 630-879-5235. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10, staff reports. Any updates?
I will start with a staff report. Wanted to let you know that the craft and vintage market, which was kind of rebranded and rethought out this year, got some really, really good reviews by the folks that were both vendors and folks that were there to buy. And they're going to take some of that feedback and improve things next year, hoping for some more vendors. So anybody out there that is a handcrafter or sells vintage items, why, please contact Jennifer Putzier at our Depot Museum if you're interested. And then my second thing is the gravity rail that we've been waiting so long for was lost by the freight company. I received a call yesterday morning, early, that said, you're just not going to believe this, but the company is now, I got an email today that said they've got an all points bulletin out to all of their delivery hubs, wherever that is in the Midwest, to look for this 300-pound package. So we are just waiting.
I'm assuming since it's 300 pounds, it's on the floor somewhere.
Well, you would think, yeah, or a pallet, or, it's not standing in a corner.
No,
so
not high on a shelf anyway.
We are, the folks at Team Real, who are the miracle dealers in the area, we're just really apologetic, and actually they're waiting for another one too, to go on a unit that they constructed for someone. So we're not the only ones, but this is just, it's been a little
Well, I
crazy.
gotta ask, do we pay for shipping for that? And
Well,
if
we
we do,
paid,
is there
we paid
any-
when all of the other stuff came, so no, not.
Is there
no, this
anything we
is-
can do for the fact that it's lost? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, this is the
it'd be
freight
worth
company.
a phone
so-
call, because this is, I mean, to lose a 300-pound, and it's not like small. This
No,
is
it's
a big
very large.
thing.
Yeah, it looked like a very large
To
box.
lose that, I would imagine, hey, how about a
It's
little
ginormous.
cut on the shipping that we paid for the entire thing?
Well, it's coming free because it hadn't been manufactured
Okay,
yet. So
okay.
we're not really doing anything. This is all on them. So it's just a matter that it's gone.
But Jim and I did talk about, can the manufacturer give us money back?
Something.
And I guess it's not common practice for manufacturers to do that, but it certainly could be worth an ask.
But I would say back to them, it's not common practice to lose a 15-foot, 300-pound
Yeah,
box.
something
Right.
big like that.
Yeah, so,
Yep, absolutely.
cool, thank you.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I have better news later. So.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I have good news. General fund operating expenditures are 1% less than what was incurred through the same period last year. And the rec fund, they're 3% less than what was incurred in the same time last year. Finance was working hard this past month on evaluating our current copier lease and trying to put us in a more advantageous spot with that. And we've also been working on getting proposals for our managed access system. Additionally, departments have been working extremely hard on budget entry and getting our projections updated, and that process is well underway. So one important date to leave you with, Sunday, September 10th, the board CDP visioning retreat. That's it for me.
And all of you should have received a calendar invite about that.
Good. Which really helps out, by the way.
Go good.
Now that we started implementing that, that's much easier
It's
for me
key.
to track, yeah.
Great.
So just one quick, so Aaron, with the reduction in, the 1%, 3%, is there something that you can attribute that to? Have you consciously tried to do something?
There's a lot of moving variables, things going up and things going down. I think the one biggest piece in the general fund was probably the implementation of our financial system last year was a big ticket item that we just didn't have this year. Otherwise, salaries across the board have been following what was budgeted, what was planned. So it's really just the timing of expenditures and what was budgeted within that given year. So.
Hello there. In my report, I had mentioned about the safety mulch that we applied to our playgrounds. As promised, we finished that right after Windmill City Fest. Kind of put it in perspective to what the guys do during the summer, or that one particular crew. We spread 750 yards of mulch. Usually when you get a load delivered to your house, it's 4 to 6 yards, and that looks like a lot. So the guys did a good job. They stuck to it. It's luckily it wasn't too hot, so we got it done on time, and I'm very pleased with their efforts. The other thing I wanted to share is that working with Jim Eby and Gary Motika on our memorial bench program, we installed 2 new benches at Engstrom Park, and I just wanted to make everybody aware that our memorial program, which is available online, is something that is very affordable, and it's a very nice way to extend your thoughts to your loved ones. We also offer that too in our at our Bark Park for any animals. So if you're interested at all, please go to our website and check out our memorial program. Thank you.
I need to make a note that in your write-up, the Windmill City Fest is something that you know, everybody knows about and enjoy, but one of the things that people don't know behind the scenes is the work that not just your staff, but I want to point out to your staff that after it's all done, there's this huge cleanup effort, and you were talking about that because of all that, only 20% of your guys are left doing everything else that keep the Park District running. So just kudos to the staff for
Thank you.
You know, putting that all together.
Thank you very much. I'll tell them.
Good evening.
Hi.
I have nothing additional. No, I'm just kidding. After the writing of this report, we received our 3rd audit of the year at the quarry, and we knocked out 5 stars again. So yay us. I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday. The days are really blurring together now that the quarry's closed. But knocked it out of the park, so 2 5s and a 4. Great season. Everything went well. Now we're in cleanup mode, and then we're going to make sure we have all the financials done and have a presentation for you guys. I can't remember if it's September or October. Yeah. So once we get all the financials done, there's still plenty of money coming in and going out. So we'll get that to you guys, and you guys will hear all about it. And then, believe it or not, we actually were able to get the last makeup River Rhapsody in. It did not rain, thunder, lightning, anything on that last Wednesday. Red Woody came out and played to a very, very large crowd. It was a great night. They put on a great performance, so we were able to get half of the Wednesdays in. So Wednesdays ended successfully. Started miserably.
You surprised the weather gods with that makeup. And
A little bit, yeah. Somebody forgot to let it rain on us, and I was very happy about that. So if you have any additional questions, throw them at me. I'm here to answer them.
Nice job.
Awesome, thank you.
So, don't push the button yet. So,
I never do that, just kidding.
I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, but last month, we were talking about the parking and the different events that at the Eastside Center, you know, and the convergence of people and how many parking spots we're going to need. We're going to talk about that later today. Is that for next month?
For next month.
For next month? Okay, because remember I asked if you could look to see when the perfect storm comes of weddings and events, etc. So.
Yep, we'll get that to you for next month.
All right.
Okay.
I promise. And I do want to oh, sorry. I actually have something. I'd like to piggyback on Dean's report. He was being pretty humble about the 5-star audit at the quarry, but I need to mention it happened just last week. We were very short-staffed. The college lifeguards had all already left. We only had the high school students and a few managers that are college students. So we actually had to close a portion of the quarry. We had to close the north part of the beach. And so here we had, you know, we were kind of crippled with the number of staff we had, and we still received a 5-star audit. So that speaks volumes of the training that they've received, the retention, the fact that even though it was the last full week the quarry was open, they didn't skimp on their responsibilities. So I wanted to share that with the board because I felt that was really important.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. Nice job, Jim.
Awesome.
Well, actually, speaking of the quarry, it's a quarry theme today. Well, no, this is all good stuff. So if some of you have remembered, before the quarry opened this year, we were going to shoot a Fox Valley virtual tour, a 360-degree tour of the quarry, or something we've been wanting to do the past 2 years. Unfortunately, Mother Nature made that impossible before the quarry opened. And so we ended up postponing it till after the quarry was closing, but we were actually able to shoot it last week on Tuesday and Thursday before the quarry opened, because we didn't have swim lessons, and it went really well. It was gorgeous out. The quarry looked amazing. One of the days was actually the same day as the audit, and so I just want to give a little shout out to Brittany Bruno, the aquatic supervisor. She's such a rock star. She's out there pulling chairs around with me, making the quarry look pretty, dealing with the lack of staff that day, and there was an audit coming, so she did a great job. The quarry managers were also super helpful. Fox Valley Virtual Tour said this was the first tour they ever did where they actually got to go in a rowboat and row out to over water. So it's going to turn out pretty neat, and so it should be ready in about a month. So we'll use it later in the year to promote like our Aloha Week and things like that. But I'll definitely include it in my presentation in October when we do the quarry report. So, so yeah, it's been a good season. Super excited. We sold out of all the parking permits, the student parking at the South Lot at Engstrom. So that was a new program that we rolled out in January this year. And we hadn't previously sold out ever, so super excited to have those all sold. They went like hotcakes last week, and so our front office staff did a great job coordinating all that sort of last-minute chaos as students were trying to figure out if they were going to get a spot this year. And then also, marketing staff, we're always exploring new ways that we can get our message out to our patrons. And so you guys are probably familiar with the monthly park bench that we send out. It's their special event e-newsletter, the really colorful, fun one that we send out. We're exploring doing a mid-month program one that would feature new programs as well as highlight seasonal programming to kind of just get our word out a little bit more. And that's definitely reflective of what the public's been asking us to do, more digital marketing as well. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You guys have any other questions for staff reports? Item number 11, Executive Director's Report.
Yes. We already have our UFO that came from the ceiling.
Right.
So now we just need a little.
Yeah, we're gonna need a little bit of filler. I put it on mute and now it fell asleep for good, so gotta let it boot up
Well,
again.
if we did, we could always move ahead to the Bulldogs Unleashed project.
Oh, here we go.
Sleeping. Oh.
It's coming.
Oh.
Here we go.
Thanks.
It's alive.
That's right. Well, before the presentation gets started, I can let the board know that next month we'll have the Windmill City Festival financial summary in the board packet, and then the month of October we'll actually have the Huck Quarry
Go the
Beach
other way.
season end report.
Off over there.
So things to look forward to. Exciting upcoming events.
Nicely
And we will
done.
also have information about the parking lot tracking. We needed a little bit more time to actually track it, because we have a lot more rentals coming in, so we wanted to get a solid average from the last board meeting.
When does it come in front of the city? Commission? Or has it already gone in front of the?
Oh, no, he just asked if it had gone before the planning commission. yet.
What's the parking lot?
The parking lot.
Oh, yeah, no, we had an informal meeting with the city staff. They gave lots of comments that the engineers have now taken back and are incorporating into their planning, and then they're going to meet with us again. We have a long ways. It'll be late this year before we probably get into that whole process.
So we just had a very preliminary discussion with the city, and the city's already talking about cutting many parking spaces.
I hope that's
So it's going to actually end up looking like what the board was hoping it would, and kind of creating
look
that
a lot
urban
different.
park setting on the north end.
Very, very nice.
So we promise that you'll have the final stamp before it goes before.
Oh,
the
yeah,
planning commission.
we'll be back.
Yep.
You'll get tired of hearing about it.
All right. And now for my report. The last Friday the quarry was open, we had a Rock Out at the Quarry concert. Actually, we had two bands perform. So as you can tell, it was a lot of fun with, the teenage bands that came in, and we had great attendance considering it was Friday and it was after hours, so it wasn't necessarily the warmest temperature for the water since we're solar heated. But the deck there really does lend itself to a lot of our special events. We have a lot of birthday parties that are hosted on the deck, but kudos to the rec staff for adding more and more special events and really utilizing that deck to the fullest potential. I'd like to encourage the board and those of you at home in our viewing audience to stop by the Depot Museum. We have a display right now until November 19th called Doctors and Dentists. So it's a history of all of the Batavia medical doctors and medical dentists that and actual medical practices that are on display. You'd be amazed to see what they used to do back in the 18th century. So it's really interesting, and I encourage anybody that gets a chance to stop by there to do so. And as you heard staff say, I'd like everyone to get this on their calendars. Down at our BART Park on September 23rd, we have the Agility Equipment Dedication. This is a great time for everybody to bring their furry friends out and experience all that this BART Park has to offer. It also gives everybody an opportunity to look at the Parks Foundation, what they started with the Bulldog and the Memorial Brick Program. But this is a great opportunity, and the more bodies and the more pets that we can get there, better. As Katie mentioned, we actually sold out. We had 22 parking permits, and I guess the theme for my presentation tonight is community. So we actually, as you remember, 1 year ago, did this as a partnership with the police department and the school district. The school district no longer had any parking spaces, the church was tapped out of parking, and the police department came to the park district and said, please, can you help us? We need to get all these cars off the streets. Well, we were able to get 22 cars off the streets, so in our south parking lot at Engstrom. Just 2 weeks ago Sunday, the Batavia Park District was a huge co-sponsor of the Batavia Community Dinner. Eric and his crew had delivered every single one of the picnic tables that you see here for 200 people to enjoy the Batavia dinner. It's a community dinner sponsored by Main Street. It's the second year that we've done it. There were 50 volunteers that served 200 people. And it was all the farm to table concept that's so popular right now. And what a beautiful picture, right? And just, again, we're talking 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago Saturday, the Batavia Parks Foundation had their River Cleanup Day. And so volunteers and the Parks Department met the Parks Foundation down at the Riverwalk, pulling weeds, kind of resurfacing, replanting bricks. Here's another picture. We just so happen to have that person in the audience, member in the audience today, Steve McKenna, yep. President of our Parks Foundation. And actually just last Friday was the Bulldogs Unleashed kickoff event. Took place down at Water Street Studios. And so this will actually lend itself into what Steve is going to talk about today, about the 2018 kickoff for this program. So I won't tell too much, I'll let you enjoy that. We did, last week at our Red Woody concert, host our volunteer appreciation dinner. And so when I say dinner, I'm really talking chips and very light appetizers. And we also had cake and put on the concert for our volunteers. So again, with the theme of community, we, the Park District, want to thank all of you who have ever volunteered for the Haunted Quarry, as a face painter, as an actor, those of you that have volunteered at Windmill City Fest to help with special events, our Parks Foundation's volunteers, those of you on the park board, you're all volunteers. We appreciate all of the groups that we work with. We're very close with the Chamber, Main Street, many other organizations, historical societies throughout town, and it's really important that we recognize that and appreciate them. And on that note, I'd just like to say thank you to all of you that are a piece of it. That's a wrap.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions on that?
One question, you were going to mention something about the Tribune?
Not until November 18th.
I get it delivered to my house, I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Item number 12A, Batavia Parks Foundation Bulldogs Unleashed project. We have with us today the president of the Parks Foundation, Steve McKenna. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate the time passing out a sample of our brochure. So the Bulldogs Unleashed effort is a public art project and fundraiser. It incorporates the Parks Foundation, the Library Foundation, and the School Foundation. It's a big project, takes a lot of hands, so we all work together and split the proceeds. The last time we did this was in 2011. Smashing success, lots of fun, lots of energy, and produced about $25,000 per foundation. We're hoping to repeat that and maybe get a few more dollars in. We've got some different ideas to leverage that. We're also working a lot harder to include Main Street, the Chamber, Water Street Studios, and the city in this effort from a promotions perspective, and just trying to generate more opportunities for sponsorships. So far, I think we're off to a really good start. We had a kickoff at Water Street Studios at the dock. The space was donated by BEI Properties. So we had a lot of great conversations with folks. We're trying to, right now, recruit artists and recruit sponsors. You can find information about being either one of those or both on our website at bulldogsunleashed.org. And of course, you can follow us on all the nifty social media sites and things along the way to really kind of keep the project going. Again, the kind of rough timeline will work from now until about mid-December, securing sponsors and artists. We'll order the dogs, however many we get, and then we'll line up the artists with sponsors in January, distribute the dogs to the artists in February. They have about 12 weeks to complete their work, and then we'll go and pick those up, get them clear-coated at Boyce Body Works, and then put on the streets from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And certainly want to say in advance to the Park District, thanks for your cooperation. And one of the primary roles of the Parks Foundation in this cadre of foundations is logistics. So we're responsible for moving dogs, amongst other things, and certainly appreciate the manpower and the equipment that come with that. So looking forward to working with y'all going forward. Please, let your friends know, point them to the social media, keep them involved. One of the things that the partner groups are doing this time around, is they're all integrating Bulldogs into their programming. So you'll see fun things from Main Street to drive foot traffic into their businesses and restaurants. You'll see the Chamber do some events and do some help us from a sponsorship perspective a bit more. Of course, Katie and the Park District, you guys know how to have fun all the time. So I know you guys will leverage it as well. With the improvements on Houston and River Street since 2011, we expect those to be really showcase places for the dogs. Last time we kind of barely fit a dog on River Street. This time I imagine we'll have 3 or 4 dogs there because of the venue and whatnot. So it's going to be fun, exciting. Got a lot of work to do. We have 2 dogs sponsored, cash in, 2 dogs sponsored right now. So hopefully that'll get us some momentum going and get our sponsorships lined up. We are looking for not only sponsors for dogs, but sponsors for our event in September 2018, as well as a presenting sponsor for the whole event. And of course, you get lots of marketing and recognition along with those sponsorships. So if there's any questions, be happy to answer them. If that's what's going on there.
Steve, are the dogs going to be the same model as last 2011? Will they be,
yes,
okay,
they will be the same, exactly the same. We debated whether we should get giraffes this time or something, and we still felt like the bulldog resonated well. That the size dog that you guys have parked out front here will be the dog sizes that we use, and the mold will be the same, so everybody's very familiar with it. What we're finding is we're already getting a lot more business interest in participating this go around because they saw it, they remembered it, they know what it did from an economic driver, foot traffic driver last time. So I think we're getting we're getting a number of folks coming to us saying, I want in, what are the details? So hopefully we can close on a number of those here shortly. Again, the Main Street and the Chamber integrating it into their programming, the Park District, I think it'll just be a lot of fun, and we'll sell out our event in September, and away we go. Hopefully, we're hoping to be at $25,000 to $35,000 that'll come into the Parks Foundation for various efforts that y'all want to see us do. So.
And Steve, the event in September is at Shannon Hall, correct?
It is. So it's at Shannon Hall. Thanks again to the Park District for letting us line up that space. We actually just hired an auctioneer for that, so a little bit more entertaining auctioneer. We were able to do the auctioneer and invest in the auctioneer because the Park District stepped up and allowed us to have that space at low cost. So we got a professional auctioneer that I think y'all will enjoy. And we're waiting on determination of when homecoming is to make our final date in September. So it'll either be the 15th or the 22nd of September in 2018. So I think we find that out in early November.
And then are the little puppies still being sold too?
Yeah, so the dog on the left is a 17-inch dog, so that kind of sits on the table size. We intend to raffle a number of those, maybe up to 12 of those. Last time we only raffled 3, and we got a lot of heat for that, for not making more available. And then the smallest dog, the one the girl's holding there, is 8 inches, and we are still generating ideas on how to make some money on those. At a minimum, we may just take orders 3 times a year, 3 times over the period, and just sell them with a markup that'll drive some revenue. We can paint them one color, or schools, other folks can get a couple of those and do fun art projects with and things like that. If we see that happening, then we'll find opportunities during the summer to, hey, bring all your dogs down and that kind of thing. So
yeah, I was about to say, it's an excellent programming opportunity to just have a bunch of these dogs. People, the kids come and they paint them, take them back and glaze them or whatever we do, right. And then they get to keep them at their house. If they're small enough that the kids can paint them in an hour or so, that's a fun little thing for them on a Saturday afternoon, and
right on.
Brings
Yes.
attention to all the rest of the stuff. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Sue at the school district is really driving some of those ideas to see if we can leverage that, because we have the Batavia Foundation for Educational Excellence involved. A lot of those folks are tied into the art community in the schools and the like. So we're looking forward to generating some more ideas around that dog and see what we can do with that. We may bundle that dog with event tickets. So there's a lot of, because it's relatively the economics on it work really well. So we're able to make some money on them without being terribly expensive. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate, obviously, the cooperation between the Park District and the Foundation that we've always enjoyed. But, I think this event, this project brings so many of the other entities around town together and just showcases what, we do when we all work together. So, because everybody has seen these bulldogs before, and I know that some folks who are new to town are like, where'd they come from? Yeah. And now, just like you were saying, a lot of these businesses are trying to come. They missed out.
Right.
And they're trying to get on board and say, we missed out last time, let's get it. So, kudos for the program again.
Great. Yeah, look forward to your support, Tom.
Do you, how are you reaching out to artists in the community?
So in terms of the workload, the Library Foundation's main job is artists. So Obviously, we want to try to leverage Water Street Studios. We got off to a good start with that on Friday. There are networks like there's an artist community at Northern Illinois. There's a number of ways to promote these things through Chicago. The last time we got artists from Crystal Lake to Morris involved, and to Schaumburg and closer to the city. So so we're there are channels to advertise that. There is an artist application on our website, so if you know somebody that's interested in completing an application, it's on there. They can download it, and George Sheets at the library is the main contact on the artist accumulation side. The vendor that we used to buy the statuaries from is called Cow Painters, and they actually have a lot of support for artists too on what's the best paints, what's the best materials, things like that as well. So yeah, again, if you've got somebody that has an interest, they do get paid to do this. And if they're lucky enough to have painted one that ends up being auctioned, they actually get a percentage of the auction price. So some folks got over $1,000 last time, just to the artist for that. So they do get paid. That usually gets an artist's attention.
And the artist information is on the foundation website or on Bulldogs Unleashed?
It's on the bulldogs.unleashed.org website.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Do we have a link to that then?
Yep, we've actually been
Katie's
using
got
social
us.
media platforms to get the word out.
I've seen the Bulldogs Unleashed already on Facebook.
And right now, staff is working on the budget for 2018, so the board will see that we're going to put in to purchase the Bulldog for the Eastside Community Center.
Nice.
Great. Any other questions? All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We're happy to be
Hi,
the
Britta.
dog pound for the logistics.
Hi, Britta.
Just want to make sure everybody says hi to Britta. She snuck in.
If you care.
Hi, Britta.
Britta got sucked into running the marketing for the Bulldogs project this time, so.
I don't think it takes much arm twisting to get Britta to do. Thank you. Moving forward, item number 13A, old business, the administrative policy discussion. This should be our second reading of this, correct?
Correct.
Are there any questions or comments on this policy? No. So entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report policy as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Riley, second by Dorsey. Please call the roll.
All right. Riley?
Aye.
Dorsey?
Aye.
Gray absent. Callahan absent. Tillman?
Aye, motion carries. So that concludes that one. Item number 14A, award of contract for purchase and installation of HVAC equipment for the Civic Center and Shannon Hall. Go.
Me. This is one of our capital development projects that was identified last year and put into our budget for 2017. As you can see in your board packet, we had our bid opening last week, and we had a very nice response from a lot of local heating cooling companies. The company Elgin Sheet Metal, actually their offices are in South Elgin, but they won the bid at $124,900, which is $10,000 less than our budget number, so that was very good. We are just going with the base bid, which is the $124,900. The units that are here on the roof, these are the two gym units here at the Civic Center, and the AC unit only at Shannon Hall. Shannon Hall's heat is a boiler system, so there's an exterior kind of AC system, and the age on that is undetermined. It's probably early 80s, we're told. The units here on the gym roof are 1989, so they're long in the tooth. And as matter has it, Elgin Sheet Metal was the company that installed those on the roof in 1989. So they're back to do it again 28 years later or whatever. So it just happens that way. So unless you have any questions, why, this is a pretty straightforward award.
Have we worked with, or have you worked with Elgin Sheet Metal before?
Oh, absolutely, yes. They have done other things for us in the district over the years. They have not done it recently, but certainly in the last 20 years, they used to do all of our maintenance as well.
And they're a reputable company. We've checked their references.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a letter of recommendation in the packet here.
Yeah, ANSCO has worked with them as well, so.
If there are no further questions, entertain a motion to award the contract for purchase and installation of HVAC equipment for the Civic Center and Shannon Hall to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Elgin Sheet Metal Company, in the amount of $124,900.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Riley, second by Dorsey. Please call the roll.
All right, Riley.
Aye.
Dorsey.
Aye.
Gray absent, Callahan absent, Tillman.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. The fitness participants who work out in the gymnasium will love it.
Yeah.
They'll see a huge difference.
All right, next item is 14C, the West Main Community Park Plan Update.
At your seat tonight is a fold-out version of the master plan update. Currently, this is not a final version yet. We are simply bringing this to you to kind of show you where we are. This is another project that came up at our retreat last year. We were asked to please brush this up. We did the original part of the plan in 2008. We have now gone back through and met with all of our folks here. We had a very large, a very productive meeting here with staff. I'm going to point to the big one on the wall, and if you can follow along where you are, and any questions, that's good. Doesn't matter. So, a real brief history. In 1999, the Park District purchased 58.4 acres of property that was owned by the Mitzi family.
In fact, I believe Britta was on the board then. 99?
Yeah, you were. Gosh.
Sorry, Britta.
Now you got me off my head. The board purchased this with the intention of developing it into mainly a sports complex kind of park. In 2000, with the aid of a $200,000 grant, an OSLAD grant, the area that you see here to the eastern edge was, yeah, it's about as clear as it's going to get, I guess. Yeah. It's a little light, so it didn't come over very well. Anyway, that's the original, the large pond was dug, as well as the Don Clark Field developed, along with the cooperation of BYB, and then our adult softball field, and the large open lawn area in which we get, 3 junior soccer-sized fields?
Yes.
Yeah, so, and they're used quite a bit, obviously. And then, of course, the walking path and the sport court and the very nice little gazebos that we have there. Later on, we added the, and it was, I think 2009, we added the Bark Park. Mm-hmm. The main square here is 3 acres and is, again, part of the old nursery, so there's some really nice large rows of trees, and Eric and his team put in a cool little gazebo, repurposed a shelter from one of the other parks. So what's new? What's in the master plan, and what's new in the master plan for now? Going to start back up here.
Well, actually, just to interject for a second, we have met with many different partners about this master plan refresh. We have input from Batavia Youth Baseball. We met with the Batavia Parks Foundation about the disc golf course. We met with the Batavia Accelerators cross country group. So we have really opened up to many of these different groups for their input.
Of course, what's driving this refresh is the new road that is being planned to go through what seems like it's going through our park. Technically, it is going to the western edge of our property, It splits our property here with this 15 or 16 acres that is actually owned by the Kane County Forest Preserve District, or better yet, the Forest Preserve District of Kane County is how they like to say that. I want to make sure I don't do that. So back in 2000, we've developed this park. By 2001, King County Division of Transportation is meeting with us and saying, hey, we've got this idea that we want to realign Bliss Road so that it doesn't come up north to Main Street and then you have to jog over and go, then you could turn left on Fabian, which is the northern terminus of that roundabout. So Fabian Parkway starts there and goes off to the north and east. At that point in time, they were not saying that it was a roundabout. They weren't planning that far ahead. They just knew they wanted to do something that would realign it. They really, I think, thought more of a traditional lighted intersection. The roundabout idea has come later after they've had some successes with a couple of other ones here in the county. So we're going to start over on this side. So what's new? 3 new large baseball fields, 90-foot base capable, 330-foot outfields, lighted, a concession building in the center, a large playground area, a large picnic shelter, and by large, it's like 2,900 square feet. It's very big. 442 car parking here, an expanded west side maintenance facility here. We're about doubling the size of the Bark Park to include some more water here that would be fenced in, is our plan. That little detention pond will become, is part of the road construction. It's like a barrow kind of thing, and they need detention for their roadway profile. So we are going to come up with a new little pond there. And then on the west side of the road, where you can see the yellow highlights are the current disc golf holes. We will be able to put in 9 holes of golf rather than the 18 we have now. The other 9 holes will perhaps be relocated or repurposed else in other parks, or they will be used, can be used for spares, because those do eventually wear out, the baskets. We do not have a realignment for the disc golf on this side yet, but there is about a half-mile circuit that would be able to be created in this area. The blue lines are the new right-of-way, so we can't build anything inside those blue lines. We traded some property, exchanged some property with the Department of Transport, the Division of Transportation. We kind of gave up a little bit on this corner here and got a good-sized chunk down here. So our property line profile changes just slightly. As Allison mentioned, all of these things are things that groups brought to us and are very supportive of what we'd like to do. The other thing in this western portion of the property would be the ability for us to clear out that whole center section and have another alternative kind of large athletic field. Rugby is a group that has talked with us in the past. They're an extra size field. They're larger than soccer and football, so they need a little extra room over there. But certainly you could then incorporate any of those other sports inside that. We also have a premier size field, soccer field or lacrosse field over in this area that, again, didn't quite come through. But you can see on your handout. So,
our vision for this entire park is really to maximize the programming potential. So it's really taking existing amenities and building upon it. And the maintenance facility is critical because we don't have anything for the west side of town. And right now it takes our tractors about half an hour to get out to West Main from our current maintenance shop, which is an hour round trip, which is inefficient use of time. And there would, did you mention the little, the entryway from where the maintenance shop is?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Part of the agreement with KDOT is that when the road is constructed, they will construct an intersection right here, which is about a quarter mile down. There's a transportation dictated distance from the intersection down to where the first an intersection could be, and this is what that is. I don't have an exact distance, but it would then serve a small, I think, 26 car parking lot potentially here on the west side. It would also allow immediate entrance into the maintenance area and a 30-car parking lot that would serve the both the maintenance facility as well as the dog park. So folks can park right next to the dog park instead of up at the north end here and then walk down. Although they're, of course, welcome to do that.
But the baseball
and
folks
enjoy
seem to
that.
really like the idea that the dog owners aren't going to be walking through their baseball
Yeah.
fields anymore.
Yeah. There are, and there are some conflicts between some of the park users and the dogs. Nothing serious, but it's just, if we can minimize that or allow that to be minimized, why we wanted to try to do that, so.
The expansion of the Bark Park also solves another problem. So as a part of the original land development, there is a pond that's shared between fishermen and dog owners. So literally, there's a sign that shows this way for dogs, the other way for fishermen. And dogs can't read, and sometimes people choose not to read. So, unfortunately, we have had dogs with fish hooks in their paws because their owners aren't keeping them on leash up until they're released in the water. So by creating another body of water within the new layout for the Bark Park, it's an enclosed area that really creates a safe haven for those dogs and makes the fishermen extremely happy because that would no longer be open to dogs.
The small pond over here will be able to be much shallower than our large pond. The deep point, of course, which is at the dog park end, is anywhere 12 to 15 feet deep and is almost impossible to put a fence in that. We don't have an exact design on this, of course, but we're going to encourage that it be designed so that we can, for 5 feet, we would be able to install a fence in there, so, which is not impossible to do. Well, which would then allow the dogs to be inside the dog park in the water, which will be much more desirable.
Is that an existing pond?
It is not. It is not there yet. That will be created at the time that the roadway is created.
Where's the water coming from? Is it drainage that's going to be draining into that pond?
Some of it will be. Other will be runoff from the rest of the park, from the dog park area. I mean, again, none of this has been, the grading really hasn't been figured out yet. We have to work that out, but yes.
And having a playground, which we do not have at this location, solves another problem. There are a lot of young families that are watching ball games that are looking for something to do. And as you know, if kids don't have something to do, they get into mischief. So having the playground area also acts as a catalyst for young families to come along and to the ball games. And the concession stand is a double-decker, correct?
Oh gosh, we have had all kinds of brainstorming ideas about what, you've been to probably many kinds of complexes like this, and they are open air kind of scoring platforms, lookout kinds of things on the top half, and concession and restroom and all those kinds of things, storage areas on the lower half. We don't really know what exactly that looks like yet, but we know it's very desirable for us to have that kind of a facility in the center of that hub to serve in all the tournaments that Dean and Ryan are going to run now out there.
So really, a year ago at the board retreat, the visioning board retreat, it was really the park board's priority to have us as a staff refresh this master plan. So this is really what we've come up with up until this point. And we're certainly open to feedback. If you have some critique, we're open to that too. The disc golf course is probably the one big question up in the air. We did talk to the Parks Foundation. At that particular meeting, there were 3 people in attendance, and so they weren't really married to the idea of funding the relocation of the disc golf course because they have a lot of other projects that are coming up. So, Batavia Youth Baseball, they took an interest in possibly becoming a partner, a financial partner in this. But certainly there are a lot more opportunities, and Katie with her sponsors, we might be able to even have designated areas that could potentially have naming rights.
This would, of course, have to be done in a number of phases to get this much work done over a period of time. The phases can be as simple as we do all the grading and we get the ball fields and the lighting established and stop there and then move in another year, or we add more things into that. It just really kind of depends on how much funding we can obtain in our CDP over the, as we build these years out, how much can each year stand?
Well, the road's not slated for quite some time anyway, right?
The road is, they're telling us 2019 is when they're thinking they're going to start.
1989?
Yeah, 1989. They need to finish their engineering. They need to go through all the processes they have to. That'll take them through 2018, and they'd like to be in the ground in 2019. That, whether that happens,
2020.
we don't know.
But they seem fairly confident, though. They've had a
Yeah,
public
they do.
hearing already about it.
They've had a.
They have funding sources.
Well, if they start in 2019, it's going to be 2020 before it's really all completed anyways.
Oh, gosh,
True.
yeah,
Very
it's going to
true.
take,
Yeah, you're right.
because it isn't just this small stretch. I mean, it
Right.
starts here,
They
and
got
then it
a
goes
lot
on
of work
down
to do, yeah.
another half mile or so and connects. So there's a good piece of road that they're going to build.
Yeah.
So this is really a proactive plan, so that way we're not just reacting to what they're doing, we're planning with them on what we
Yeah.
want to do.
The first phases, as we at staff level see it, really is ball field, parking, those kinds of things, which doesn't or isn't impacted by the roadway at all. So,
Great.
more questions? Anything?
Any questions?
Yeah, or feedback?
One thing I think is, I've seen this before, we've evolved a little bit, so it's not a big surprise, it's a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
And, we have this visioning retreat in September, it'd be a good time to talk, it seems as though if we did start with the ball fields for baseball as well as softball, you bring a lot of softball teams in, what kind of revenue could we generate to help build that as well as the other things going along? And then also some funding mechanisms, some influx of sponsorship, et cetera. Because really, until we know kind of maybe where our money, what we can generate, it's a nice plan, but
Right.
when can we start to do something?
Good point.
When will they have the Frisbee golf or disc golf course, those 9 holes drawn in? Do you have?
They could probably figure that out now and lay that out for us if they wanted to. We didn't have them do that yet because it's still so far out. Until the roadway actually starts, we'll still be able to maintain the current golf course, which obviously we're thinking rest of this year and all of 18. We will have to pull out. Actually, there's 9 holes over there now. We would just have to renumber them and then remove the other ones, and it would be very playable in the configuration it is now. There are about, I think I counted 4 or 5 holes that are totally impacted by the road, and will have to be removed.
And Kevin, to your point, that's why from a strategic standpoint, we wanted to have this at this board meeting to roll it out, so that way we could talk about it more in depth at the visioning retreat.
So we can, send some idea or questions, et cetera, to you, and we can
Please.
roll it out to everybody so we can not waste time on the 10th.
Please do. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciated.
Great.
So far, yeah.
Good, thank you.
Cool. All right, moving forward to 14D. Administrative policy discussion.
Were you waiting out there till I got done?
Nice day.
Pat,
So long.
say hi.
Britta got to relive her years on the park board. We were talking about West Main. and
Relive?
She was on the board with you during that.
She was.
To purchase the mid-seat property.
We were just starting on 14D, Administrative Policy Discussion, which is the first reading for the ergonomics policy for the safety manual and the land acquisition policy for the administration manual.
Yep, and I just want to make a sweet little note that both of those policies are directly from PDERMA, and it's a part of the loss control review process. So our insurance company basically handed the template to us and said, insert your name here, this is what we would approve, and we will give you extra points during the loss control review process if you can have this as a part of your policy.
Excellent. So we will review this, and it'll come up again next month for the second reading.
Great.
And we moved something on the agenda so that the perfect timing would work out. So now we're at 14B, the approval of the architectural fees for the schematic design of the Depot Museum expansion.
And how kind of Vice President Tillman to stall it out just perfectly for you.
It's all in
He was really
it's all in the
talking
wrist.
slow.
It's all in the wrist. So,
You know, it was killing him to make the meeting go past an hour.
right. So, where are we at with this one?
Yes, actually, I'm going to hand this to Pat.
So the Historical Society, in their efforts to provide for the addition onto the Depot Museum, has working on fundraising. And part of the challenge with their fundraising is they need some more detailed information to validate some of the cost figures that they've been purporting that they're going to need, because they're looking for major donors. Our partnership has always been that we assist them with the kind of architectural portion of the project, because it's our building on our property. They use it. There's a very good, nice symbiotic relationship between the two entities. So at our last meeting with the Historical Society, we talked about levels of design and what they would need in order to get the information that their donors are asking for. So we meaning Allison and Jim, engaged DLA architects who did some of the earlier concepts and asked for a formal proposal for the breadth of their work through the end of the project, but truncated it at schematic design, because that's the next level of design that they'll need really to get good cost estimating, to have some nice imagery, to get it to a point where it's real, but without spending an inordinate amount of money to achieve what they're trying to, which is ultimately to get resources to build the building. So this is about a 3% reduction from where they started. I was working with Jim and Allison to try to negotiate this down, and I think this is actually a very reasonable number for the work that's going to take to get it to that point. They have enough imagery and information to be able to do realistic cost assessments. So the recommendation tonight is to do the topographic survey, the ecological study, as well as the schematic design work for a not to exceed of $40,670.
So with that, I entertain a motion to approve the architectural fees for schematic design, Phase 1 topographic survey, and Phase 1 ecological consultant for the expansion of the Depot Museum for the total amount not to exceed $40,670.
So
motion by Callahan, second by Dorsey.
All right, Riley.
I have a question. So I think I understand what you're saying. When we, a few months ago, they brought in the drawings, right? And there was a presentation. So, and they wanted to raise around $2 million, is it? Is that what they need? Somewhere around there?
yeah, I think the project's about
Give or
$2 million.
take.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're saying that they need like enhanced drawings so that others can have confidence to submit the, to contribute the money?
So the drawings they have right now are not reflective of what could actually be built. So first of all, there's And again, it's because they're not really design drawings, they're just concept sketches.
Right.
So there's the three things were the topographic survey, which pins the building down to very specific elevations to make sure that we can transition from grade outside to the various floor levels inside. The ecological survey is what environmental impact is it going to have on it, because we're very close to the edge of the Riverwalk. And in order to, because both of those have cost implications, right? So
Yeah.
if the grade changes are too drastic, it's going to cost more to put the foundation in. If we have to do more work to, let's just say we have to mitigate a section and then recreate it somewhere else double, that has a cost implication. The design work, which is what the building is made out of, what it looks like, how tall are the eaves, how tall is the roof, those kind of things. That's part of the very first design process, which is schematic design. And again, because they just did conceptual just to get some ideas on paper, it's not enough to support someone questioning, okay, well, how do you know it's going to cost $100,000 for the concrete, which I'd like to donate, right? $100,000 to do the concrete.
And that's where the Historical Society is at that point, where they have people that want to donate goods and services, but
Large sums of money.
And the ecological study will help answer questions as far as what is the impact to, the entire area as far as the environment and so forth. So, I mean,
So the big number, the $2 million number, it probably still holds water because it's based on historical data, related projects. But when you start trying to break that down into pieces to say, okay, well, I'll donate the concrete, or I'll donate, $100,000, but I want my name on the interior meeting room space or something like that. It's not granular enough to break it down. The schematic design work will allow it to be a little more granular, to be able to break it down into those pieces so that someone can say, oh, I want to donate or I want to participate in that piece of the project. So that's really what it boils down to.
and we as staff really tapped into Pat's expertise as an architect to learn what those different design phases are. So it's extremely helpful to have him in attendance at those meetings with the Historical Society, so he could really provide the educational aspect as to next steps.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Sure. Riley?
Aye.
And Dorsey?
Aye.
Gray, absent. Tillman?
Aye.
And Callahan?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving forward.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Fox Valley Special Rec Association.
You know what? It's right now the Fox Valley Special Rec is actually just having board orientations. Dean's my alternate, so Dean and I will be attending an upcoming board meeting where they've actually never done a formal board orientation, so we're trying to get them to be a little bit more professional when it comes to governance and how to manage the board. So we're trying to tighten up some things for them and create a little bit of structure. So that way people coming in don't feel like a freshman in high school and trying to learn the ropes through tenure. So really that's where we're at with Fox Valley Special Rec.
Excellent, thank you. Item number 16 is executive session, which is to discuss some leasing property land acquisition to C5. So entertain a motion to move into executive session.
So moved. Second. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at you. Motion by Callahan, second by Riley. Okay, got beat.
Did I move it?
I moved it.
Oh.
Dorsey second.
Okay, you got beat. So Riley and then Dorsey.
A little rusty.
So I don't believe we will have any business after coming out of executive session, so we will,
Oops, time out. Jim, do I need to do roll call to enter, or to adjourn this meeting? They did a first and a second.
You can do it by, we need to have a vote.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be roll.
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, I was kidding.
I'm just not used to playing Shelley, that's all. It's my role I'm worried about.
So a motion has been placed to enter us into executive session, and we will not be entertaining any business after that. So please, all those in favor of entering into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We are in executive session.